out there, and welcome to another video! I'm Unger to the max, and it's actually perfect that I'm sitting in front of my Boston Celtics poster with Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and Paul Pierce on it. I got this when I went to TD Garden, although I haven't been to a Celtics game yet, so I do need to go back to Boston and see a Celtics game in order to count TD Garden. But why do I say it's perfect that I'm sitting in front of my Boston Celtics poster? Well, because for today's video, I would like to discuss who really started the whole Big Three NBA SuperTeam thing. Now, I know people are going to say, what are you talking about? It wasn't the Boston Celtics who started it. It was the San Antonio Spurs with Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. Okay, that's fit. That's a fair argument. However, they were all drafted by the Spurs. They weren't acquired from Minnesota or Seattle and brought to the team. So, yes, the Spurs technically started it, but for the purposes of what I'm discussing, I'm going to say the Celtics started it. All right? Is that cool? We got that clarification out of the way? Good. So, in 2007, the Boston Celtics were shitty. They had one of the worst records in the NBA, whereas the Cleveland Cavaliers somehow, someway made it through the Washington Wizards, New Jersey Nets, and Detroit Pistons before getting swept in the NBA Finals by the Spurs. Like I've said on numerous occasions, the Cavaliers didn't deserve to be in the 2007 NBA Finals, and they did not belong. But then again, at the same time, the only reason the Spurs were in the NBA Finals is because the Golden State Warriors upset the number one seeded Dallas Mavericks in the first round. By the way, I'm still mad that the NBA took down their content from iTunes, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so before the 2008 season, the Boston Celtics made two huge trades. First, they acquired Kevin Garnett from Minnesota for a trade package that included Al Jefferson and various other players, and I'm sure there were picks in there. And then they went out and acquired Ray Allen from the Seattle Supersonics, who should still be a team. Sorry, Oklahoma City, but I'm happy you have a team, but not at the expense of Seattle. Seattle needs to get their NBA team back. Just saying. So Boston now had a starting lineup of Rajon Rondo, guard from Kentucky, and I believe he was only in his fourth year in the league at that time. I could be wrong on that, but I believe so. They had Ray Allen, a veteran shooting guard out of UConn, so he was a Husky. Paul Pierce at small forward. He was a Kansas Jayhawk. Kevin Garnett, I forget what high school he went to. And Kendrick Perkins, who also came out of high school. And they went on an amazing run. Got the top spot in the Eastern Conference. And, people say, the Boston Celtics had such an easy ride to the NBA Finals. No, they didn't. Think about this. In the first round, they were pushed to 7 games by the upstart young 8-seeded Atlanta Hawks. Now, all 4 games that were in Boston, the Celtics absolutely steamrolled them. But when the series shifted to Atlanta for games 3, 4, and 6, Atlanta came back and said, no, we're not going down without a fight. Then shift to round 2 against Cleveland. I mean, yeah, the Cavaliers pretty much only had LeBron, along with Delonte West, Wally Zerbiak, Ben Wallace, but for the most part, we only had LeBron. Yet somehow we were able to push the Celtics to 7 games. And like I said in the past, that Game 7 duel between Paul Pierce and Ray Allen was absolutely amazing. it's one of those games I will never forget, and it's also one of those games I love going back on YouTube and watching. Man, I wonder if when the NBA had their content up on iTunes, was that game available? Because if it was, I definitely missed an opportunity. And then Boston pretty much took down Detroit. And then, we got Celtics Lakers in the NBA Finals. Anyway, so getting back to the main point. Boston started the whole Big Three era of bringing players in from other teams. Again, I know San Antonio was really the starter, but they drafted, like I said earlier, they drafted Tony Parker, they drafted Tim Duncan, they drafted Manu Ginobili. Whereas Boston, as I said, brought in Kevin Garnett. They brought in Ray Allen. There you go. Now, fast forward to the end of the 2010 season, going into the 2011 season. Of course, we had the whole decision with LeBron going to Miami. And then Chris Bosh left Toronto to go to Miami. However, that was not supposed to be the original Big Three of Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Chris Bosh. It was originally supposed to be Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. However, what happened is that LeBron and Dwayne Wade both signed contracts so that they could become free agents at the end of the 2010 season. However, Carmelo Anthony decided to stay in New York for an extra season, which messed up their plans. Hence, Chris Bosh being there instead of Carmelo Anthony. Interestingly, Carmelo Anthony said that if the Pistons had drafted him instead of Darko Milicic, he would have 2 or 3 rings. Not so sure about that, but that's a different video for a different day. Anyway, so Miami are kind of known as the villains from 2011 to 2014. And interestingly, all 4 of their appearances in the NBA Finals were against teams from the Southwest. The first NBA Finals in 2011, they played the Dallas Mavericks. Second NBA Finals, they played the Oklahoma City Thunder. Although for some reason, OKC's in the Northwest Division, makes no sense. In 2013, they played the San Antonio Spurs. And then in 2014, they played the Spurs again. But Miami had great playoff series against Indiana twice in the Eastern Conference Finals. I wish the NBA still had its content available on iTunes. Hint, hint. Wink, wink. Because I would have loved to have been able to purchase both of those series to just enjoy some great basketball, because those were great games between Carmelo, I almost said Carmelo, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade against Roy Hibbert, Paul George, David West, Lance Stevenson, Darren Collison, Mario Chalmers, Mike Miller, Shane Battier. The list goes on and on. And then in 2011, you had the Heat against the Bulls, when the Bulls were the top seed, but Miami still was able to beat them. Notice that in 3 out of the 4 NBA final or Eastern Conference Finals that Miami was in, they played teams from the Central Division. Chicago in 2011 and Indiana in 2013 and 2014. The only exception was when they played the Boston Celtics in 2012. So that was really the battle of the Big Threes. And I believe Miami won that in 7 games, although Game 7 wasn't close. So, I think that's a very fascinating topic. And then you fast forward, Golden State kind of created a super team with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. But they drafted those guys. They didn't bring those players in from other teams. And of course, everybody got upset, including myself, when Kevin Durant said, "Oh, I'm leaving Oklahoma City." Okay, where are you going? "I'm going to join the team that beat my Oklahoma City Thunder." "Oh, you mean the Golden State Warriors." Thanks for ruining the NBA. But interestingly, When Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, it ruined the NBA Finals between the Cavaliers and Warriors, but it made the Christmas games more exciting. I don't know how that works, but somehow it did. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, punch that like button like a UFC fighter and punch that subscribe button. Also, click that bell so you'll get notifications for when I upload new videos. Until next time, this is Unger to the Max, signing off.